Scoop Slam Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Scoop Slam Podcast. We are back off of hiatus, and we are bringing you guys the Scoop Slam Awards today. It's the end of 2022, December 14th when we're recording this, and we're ready to wrap up the year, hand out our personal awards. We got a big list of categories for you guys, but as always, I'm joined by my co-host. It's Ryan.
Yes, sir. Finally back, Micah. Finally. 2022 over, 2023 about to begin. Whew. What a year, man. What a year.
Before we get started, I was thinking about this the other day. Where do you think 2022 ranks? Like, I would put 2021 over 2022 just because it had a lot of classic moments. I feel like that was AEW's best moments, right? Currently. Was late 2021, obviously with the addition of CM Punk. And there was some things kind of turning in WWE that made you feel, I guess, a little more positive about it, but also then like the NXT stuff changed. So, but where do you think 2022 ranks with like Triple H, leaving? MJF has finally hit his peak, I feel like, or, I guess, realized his potential basically as a world champion.
You know, as far as like match quality wise and storyline wise, this year was mid. Yeah, I mean, it was fine, I guess, on screen, but behind the scenes, this was a GOAT year for content, man. like like so much stuff happened this year.
It was one of the wildest years I can remember. The fact that Cody leaving AEW doesn't even probably make the top 5 of the most wild things when he's like one of the biggest proponents of AEW is insane. I
It's crazy.
mean, what all was there? Vince leaving,
Yeah.
Cody leaving,
Hmm.
AEW fights, Brawl out. What else?
Great
Shoot,
bomb.
today Mandy Rose got fired.
Yeah, man. Triple H taking over after seemingly being backdoored out the company. Like it's this year, man. It's
Yeah,
been wild.
William Regal.
William Regal. Like I was so hot when he showed up at that pay per view in March, and now he's just back with the company like nothing ever happened.
I know. I never forget your look. I popped big. I seen him. I just turned to you, and you're like, "Oh man." You just had that deadpan stare. You know the stare that Kenny did when he beat Sonny Kiss. That was
Yeah,
you.
I was so hot about that, man. Oh man, MJF walking out the company too, shoot or kayfabe, but it still is pretty noteworthy.
Yeah. And I still feel like we're missing so much stuff.
Oh
Forbidden
yeah, man.
Door, as wild as that is, to think about a joint promotion pay per view with two of the top 3 biggest companies in the world.
Yeah, it was very noteworthy, man. I kind of wish they would just put the behind the scenes stuff on television. That'd be more entertaining than what we get on a week to week basis.
Probably get more viewers too.
I tune in.
Oh, I'd watch it.
Oh yeah.
Let me get Skip and Shannon on the wrestling news.
Hey man, that'd be pretty entertaining.
Hey, man, Shannon would be in there with the dang bloodline shirt every day too.
Oh man, I mean, aren't we all a Roman Reigns supporter at this point?
Mm. Hey, we
Come on.
might be. You'll know by the end of the episode.
Oh yeah.
But we're gonna go ahead and get started. So I want to give you guys the rundown. We're gonna start with the best moments of the year. Not so much like individual awards. Then we'll go to our not so good awards, the bad, the ugly ones, worst match, stuff like that. And then we'll get to our individual good awards, wrestler of the year, match of the year, rookie of the year, that stuff. So, and then me and Ryan will also alternate between, I'll start one award, he'll start the next. And lastly, before we get started, I do want to say, because this will be our first episode back, we do appreciate everybody's patience, and I want to, key you guys in on why we were on hiatus a little bit. Just trying to finish up some school and stuff. It's been a wild couple of months. And these tests are extremely long, like 1,000 question tests, or 1,000 question pool that I have to know all of them and then pay like $200 to take the test. And then the final test is like $400. And then, you try and do that, trying to work 30 plus hours a week. And then you throw in 8 hours of wrestling plus
Sheesh.
recording plus editing.
Oof.
Um, so yeah, I did need the time away, and I know we don't have a huge following or anything, but I did feel bad because I don't care if we have 50 people listening. I just like recording and talking about stuff. I know you feel the same way, Ryan.
Oh yeah.
But like I said, I do appreciate everybody's patience. We are glad to be back, and I want to give you a schedule of the next couple of weeks. And obviously, this is to change in case if anything happens. But as of right now, so for the week of December 11th through 17th, this will be our only upload, which is the Scoop Slam Award Show. The week of the 18th through the 24th, we're going to have some watch-alongs throughout, Christmas break and stuff, so we can be with our families, do our, celebratory stuff. So that week we're gonna have a WCW watch-along, the highs and lows, Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio, Halloween Havoc 1997, as well as Hulk Hogan versus Sting at Starrcade 97. Yeah, it's a good episode. You definitely need to tune in. Then we got the 25th to the 31st. We're going to watch along from Revolution 2022, which we were live in attendance for. MJF versus CM Punk in the dog collar match.
Mm.
And then for the first week of January, we are going to have the TNA Triple Threat match, the most infamous one. AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe. What event was it at? I always forget that.
Was it Unbreakable 2005 or was it Sacrifice 2005? No, it might have been Unbreakable. I don't know, man. That was a long time ago.
Yeah,
It could
I
have
was
been
three.
Unbreakable. Oh, okay.
But anyways, we'll have those for you guys. So it's an exciting Christmas season, and then hopefully after all of that is done and uploaded, and hopefully I will be done with all my tests by then. We'll be back to our regular programming, and we're gonna be doing things a little bit different with the way we do it. So hopefully our shows won't be as long, but once we get a little closer to that, we'll let you guys know. But I'll let you start us off, Ryan, with our first category of the year. This is the comeback slash
Oof.
return of the year. Who
Okay.
do you got?
Man. It was a lot of comebacks this year. A lot of debuts, especially when Triple H took over. Man, he brought everybody back to Vince cut almost. But come
Yeah.
on, man, this is a runaway right here. It's got to be Bray Wyatt returning. The Storm was perfect. They had the vignettes. They had the vignettes that you had to hold your phone up to the QR code type thing, and then the stuff that happened off camera that you didn't never saw on the show, but you're seeing online, and the buzz was at a fever pitch at the Extreme Rules pay per view. Man, come on now, you know it's Bray Wyatt. And as far as the honorable mention, I got Cody Rhodes returning at WrestleMania. What you think?
I'm shocked. I'm truly shocked.
Really?
We got these flip flop. I
Oh,
got Cody at Mania as my comeback of the year. Man, the crowd was electric. It's the biggest show, regardless if you're a WWE fan, AEW fan. WrestleMania is the show to be on. It's the NFL, Sunday night football, prime time, whatever you want to say.
yeah.
Cody's return, everybody thought they knew,
Oh,
but
come on
you
now.
kind of weren't 100. I mean, you weren't 100% sure. You never knew. The pause before, the pyro.
I was more sure that Cody was returning than Bray Wyatt.
Really.
Like, like you really did you really thought that was gonna be Bray Wyatt? You were 100% positive.
I was I had a good feeling. The only guy I think that could have pulled that off was Bray.
Well, I mean, there were rumors, rumblings of Alistair coming back. We didn't know if Alistair Black was gonna come back. We didn't know. People were saying Karrion Cross. This was a new gimmick. That didn't make any sense. But a lot of people were running with stuff like that online. Nobody knew for sure it was Bray. But I mean, most people knew Cody Rhodes was coming back at WrestleMania.
I guess that I mean, yes, the dirt sheets were saying that, but to me, I was like, man, there's no way Cody's gonna leave. And then like seeing it was like, what the heck? Like this is a wild moment. Like, I never would have thought that Cody would have went back to WWE unless AEW maybe shut down or just got real bad off like WCW or something. So I guess just that like back of my mind was like, no, there's no way Cody would do that. But yeah, well, here we are.
Man, I remember you sent me a text message at like 8 in the morning. You said, "Bro, Cody Rhodes just left AEW." I was like, "What the heck? What?" And then, so I mean, you knew he was gonna have to go somewhere, Micah. I mean, did you think he was gonna come back to AEW?
Yeah, I did.
Really, really? You think he put a press release out? They would announce his release on Twitter like that. AEW acknowledges his release, and then he just comes on back to AEW. You thought that was gonna happen?
I definitely didn't think he was going to go back to WWE after the whole throne incident.
Oh man,
Well,
come on now. Nobody's ever blacklisted from the company,
I mean, I guess that's true, unless you're
especially
David Schultz.
Macho Man too.
Oh well. Well, there's a couple blacklisted.
Other than those guys.
All right. Well, I'm kind of shocked. I thought we were going to agree on that one. This might be a little as not, unanimous as I thought.
Well, we did kind of agree though.
I mean, yeah, those are the top two. There's nothing else in contention to me. Maybe like
Oh, what about
Bailey with
MJF?
Dakota. Yeah,
You were
I guess
raving
that's
about
true.
that. You were raving about that when it happened.
It was good.
It
The
didn't make
only
any
issue
sense.
with, well, I was going to say the issue I have with it was the beginning part. The ladder match was so bad, and you knew who it was going to be. And then the aftermath, the fact that he came out and returned against Punk, and then Punk has never been seen again on the show, just kind of hindered the whole thing, I feel like.
Yeah, the aftermath kind of ruined the comeback. But they did go all out for his comeback. I mean, didn't they license the music?
Yeah, it was, I couldn't even tell you the song. I think it was by the Rolling Stones, though.
Symphony of the Devil, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of, we'll move to our promo of the year.
Oh my.
I'll lead this one off. I got a lot of honorable mentions, but I think we'll agree. I don't know. For my promo of the year, I got MJF the night after Double or Nothing. This was like the pipe bomb of this decade so far. I mean, he said what a lot of people have been thinking about Tony Khan, what a lot of people have been feeling with the AEW product. He said a lot of truthful things, just like Punk did then, and that's what a lot of people connected with. The fire, the fact that he got cut off at the end, the cussing, it's saying stuff that he was not allowed to say on TV. And it was their LA debut, and they
Hmm.
had Warner executives there in attendance. It
Hey,
made for great TV. I remember where I was watching it. It is my promo of the year, MJF, the Dynamite after Double or Nothing. I do want to say a couple honorable mentions. I got Punk and MJF at Daly's place right before Revolution.
mm. Okay.
Punk before All Out with Ace Steel.
All right. Yeah, that was good.
Punk, I believe it was Valentine's Day where he introduced the dog collar.
I don't. Okay. All right.
And Sami Zayn, Uzi.
Oh, man. Oh, that's a solid list. Solid list.
Yeah. I'll let you take the floor. I felt like the last one is a lot different than the other ones, where it's more of a comedic tone, I guess. But dude, everybody was talking about that, and I mean, it's a classic clip. Like I will watch that 5 years later and laugh at it still.
Oh yeah, it popped Roman. It popped everybody in the ring, man.
Yeah,
Uh, I got the MJF promo as well, but man, you didn't even point out the best part of the promo is when he looked dead into the camera and said, "Fire me, you effing Mark." Man, that's just a legendary quote right there. We got to put that on a T-shirt because that made the promo right there. That put it in legendary status. In fact, I put down "you effing Mark" as the promo name. Um, as far as I got one honorable mention. I got the Bray Wyatt return promo on SmackDown. That one was really good. He just kind of spoke from the heart, and you never really heard Bray Wyatt speak as Wyndham, as himself, ever on WWE television. And he did right then and there, and it kind of painted him as a big baby face, man.
yeah,
Like it kind of reminded me of when Dax was telling the story of his daughter. Was it Dax or Cash?
yeah. It was Dax. Dang, I didn't even
Yeah,
think to put that one on there either.
that one was good. That one was really good. But yeah, the Bray Wyatt return promo is my honorable mention. But MJF, man, he had some really, really great promos this year. MJF and Punk. They carried
Yeah,
2022 as far as promos.
yeah. I mean, look at my list. I got what 4 out of the 5 that I wrote down are either involving Punk or MJF one, and there's a whole host of MJF promos we didn't even do. Um, I mean, think some of the stuff he's done since he's been back has been great. I
The
mean, there's just
Ricky
yeah,
Starks promo they had last week.
yeah, that one was really good. I mean, there's been a lot of good promos this year from select guys. There's also been a lot of rotten ones,
Oh
but
yeah, most
you
definitely.
know, the upper echelon, the Romans, the Punks, the MJFs, even Moxley has had a couple of okay ones, even though he's not my favorite. Um, it was an all right year for promos.
Yeah, it's pretty solid, especially AEW wise.
Yeah,
WWE, it kind of picked up in the second half, but the first half, I can't really think of any memorable promos from
yeah.
the better company, WWE.
Okay, okay, okay. Well, I'll let you take the floor on this next one. The next award is the most impactful moment of the year, and I'm pretty sure
Oh,
we'll be unanimous on this.
oh God, it's Vince says goodbye, man. We had to do an emergency podcast for that. We don't ever do emergency
Yeah,
podcasts, but Vince leaving after 40 years as the head booker, the CEO of the company, the owner, finally says goodbye when people were predicting that he was going to die in the chair. He was never going to step down, and all of a sudden, some random morning, he just tweets out that he's retiring, and it was over out of nowhere. And I really did think he was going to kick out of these allegations, and he was going to stay in power, which he may. He may get. He may come back in 2023. Who knows?
it's looking like the book's not closed.
Yeah, we're not done on this story arc right here.
Yeah. Did you have any honorable mentions for that one?
Yeah, I got the gripe bomb. CM Punk right after All Out. Was that All Out? Yeah,
Yeah.
that was All Out. Yeah, CM Punk going off on Scott Colton and the dumb cowboy Adam Page. I got that
Empty
as my
headed.
empty head. Yeah, I got that as my honorable mention. Which in the moment, listening to it, it was really really funny.
Oh, it was hilarious. It's still funny, but
I don't know
I you know my feelings. If you don't know my feelings, go listen to some of the older podcasts. I think we have one on the All Out situation.
Oh, we do.
Um, but yeah, I gotta agree with you. It's the whole Vince saga. Um, just from top to bottom, like you said, I never thought he would retire. I thought he would just die in the office, and then you know, maybe Punk was right. You
Oh
you
man.
listen to that pipe bomb a couple years ago, and I don't obviously I don't wish death on Vince McMahon. A lot of people like hate the dude, and I'm not saying he's like God's gift to Earth or anything, because he's probably not a good dude, but most rich people aren't. But also, he did do a lot for the wrestling business, and regardless of what you want to say, the most infamous wrestling moments of all time, or not infamous, but the most famous wrestling moments of all time, 95% of them are Vince McMahon made.
Yeah, he's the Walt Disney man.
Yeah. Quite literally, because Walt Disney's a pretty controversial figure too, unless you're
Ooh.
Kanye West. But,
Oh man. Oh.
but I mean, I don't know. I'll just leave it at that. Maybe Punk was right. The company is better off without Vince in this day and age. But as my honorable mention, I also had the brawl out, and then for a different reason, I put Cody at Hell in a Cell. Not as far as like a long term impact moment, but more of a inspirational type. You know,
Yeah. We kind of misunderstood this award. Like I didn't you have something entirely different until I said the Vince says goodbye thing to you a couple weeks ago?
yeah, I had the Cody Hell in a Cell thing because I was thinking most like positive, uplifting, or like like tug at your heartstrings type moment. Because a couple of years ago, I probably would have put the Brody Lee celebration of life.
Uh,
But see, I think we just went two different directions, but I still did want to shout that out because that's a moment you can look at and be like, geez, like what a warrior. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Well, that's all of our sorry, excuse me. That's all of our um I guess not necessarily individual awards. So we will move to the not so good award of the year, the ones you don't want
Oof.
to get. And I think we might have some disagreements here.
Oh yeah, this is the one we're gonna disagree on.
We're gonna start it off. I'll take the floor on this one. Most disappointing of the year. This is not necessarily a moment. I did a wrestler personally. I said Ronda Rousey.
Oh, really?
Dude, oh my god.
Did you have
It's
high hopes
been
for her?
I mean, not like necessarily, but also just think about the year Ronda has had, right?
Yeah.
So she comes back at the Royal Rumble. People pop
Yeah.
big, but they also
Mm-hmm.
hated it because it's super predictable. She then goes on to WrestleMania. Didn't she lose at Mania against Charlotte?
Man, I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember that match at all. I don't
Well,
know. I don't remember
that's
that.
saying something. I'm pretty sure she lost and then won it like the next
Okay.
month or something. So not only did she lose at Mania,
Okay.
she then has no good matches on her resume, gets cashed in on by Liv Morgan, loses the title, has an awful feud with Liv Morgan, awful
Mm,
match with Liv Morgan,
really bad.
wins the title back, now is like fighting Shotzi. I think she fought Natalia somewhere in there. All of her promos, horrible. All of her matches,
Yeah.
horrible. And she's like
Mm,
the star on SmackDown. So, in
Well,
my opinion, to be the women's world champion for the majority of the year, to
hmm.
be that big of a star, she's a household name to most people,
Oh yeah, most definitely.
and her segments on TV are consistently some of the worst I've ever seen. To me, that's my most disappointing of the year. Now I do have two honorable mentions. I have a couple honorable mentions for some, and then some I don't have any, and then some I just have one. So for this one I got two, and it's kind of funny that they're both in here together. I got Sammy Guevara and
Okay.
Eddie
All
Kingston.
right. Oof. Two guys that started out hot and then you can't even find them on the card at the end of the year.
Yeah. Like, man, I thought Sammy was going to be something, and now he's like you could debate to take him out of the pillars because everybody hates him, and that's
Oh
fine
yeah.
if he uses it for heat. But nobody, he has like go away heat. People don't want him on their TV. And Eddie just got buried and then kind of ruined some of his own momentum. And he's just the token fight, old Japanese guys on pay per view or not on pay per view on the free TV show. So, yeah, that's my most disappointing. Who you got?
So I'll start my honorable mention. Um, I got Wardlow, man. I really had high hopes for this guy starting the new year, and then he had the big program where he finally turned on MJF. He was one of the most over guys on the show. He was getting the biggest reactions on the show.
Got the biggest one at Revolution.
Yes, yes. And, they booked him with the security team, his first feud, and then he floundered, did mostly nothing, cut some promos that, God, he tried, man, but nobody really got behind any of his promos. Uh, man, Wardlow. And then he lost the title to Samoa Joe.
In a cold
Can
match.
A cold match. Can you honestly say that Wardlow is in a better position now than what he was in March? No.
Ugh. No. Sad. As much as it hurts me to say no.
Yeah, because we're big Wardlow fans, man. We want the best for Wardlow. It's just he hasn't produced on the mic and the storylines and the feuds and everything they had him working with since All Out. It might have been before All Out. The pay per view match he had with MJF. Everything after that has just been kind of meh. And as far as most disappointing, this goes for both companies. I'm going with injuries. Man, we had so many injuries this year. Punk getting injured kind of ruined storylines for a bunch of stuff. Randy Orton getting injured before SummerSlam. Cody getting injured after Hell or before Hell in a Cell and kind of ruining all plans for him going forward. I mean, the injuries were rampant this year, man. And we had a lot of injuries.
Yeah, I think I didn't even think to go that route, but that I really think is the winner, honestly. Um, because like you said, I mean, just so many people got derailed. We didn't have Danielson for a good portion of the year.
Yeah, yeah.
Punk was out. Like the
Cole,
Cole,
Adam
still
Cole,
not
Adam
back.
Cole. Yeah, Adam
Um,
Page.
yeah.
Well, yeah.
Kenny was gone for most of the year too, and regardless of, your feelings towards Kenny, he at least feels like a main eventer in AEW.
I forgot
Um,
about that. Yeah, yeah.
Even Logan Paul, man. Like,
Oh, yeah. Injuries, man.
yeah, it's been a rough year for wrestlers' health, and that at the end of the day is one of the things we never want to happen to people. It really sucks.
What do you think is causing all these injuries, man? Is it the style or them not wrestling enough? Because you got to think these guys are wrestling what, two, maybe three times a week when they used to wrestle five, six, sometimes seven times a week back in the territory days. Like there seems to be more injuries now than there was back then.
I think it's a mix. Um, I think it is the style. It's definitely more fast paced, more hard hitting, more uh dangerous. At the same time, I think it depends on the company because like WWE, they're still wrestling quite a bit. In AEW, you may only wrestle once or twice a month, and I think Dustin Rhodes did an interview a couple weeks ago, and he said
Yeah.
that that was harder for him to do than to do WWE's schedule.
I think Taker said the same thing. He said those one matches a year at WrestleMania took so much out of him because you just don't have the callus built up of doing it five, six, 7 times a week. Like
Yeah.
you do it one time and it just takes a lot out of you.
I mean, think about even like, say, me and you, neither of us are, 5-star athletes or anything, but we might go play basketball every now and then. And think after the first day, we're like super sore, super gassed. So, I mean, I can
Yeah.
only imagine it's probably the same way.
Yeah.
But it does suck too, because you think in this day and age, we would have, like, I guess, more ways to prevent it. We obviously do have better
Yeah.
medicine, but it's just, I don't know, it's kind of crazy. And also, a lot of guys in the older days wouldn't say that they had certain injuries because they didn't want to lose their spot.
Yeah, that's true. That's true in professional sports too, man. How many times do guys get hurt or sit out games in the NBA now compared to the 90s or the early 2000s? Man, you had
Yeah.
guys averaging like 41 minutes a game back in the early
Hmm.
2000s. That would never happen in the current day.
No.
Like guys usually take the second night of a back-to-back off now. I mean, it's just I don't know, man. Just one of those things.
Yeah, maybe in the playoffs, but especially not in the regular season. But I also
Yeah.
think that has to do with, we know how it affects people. We know, like, even NFL, they're always looking for new ways to make helmets safer and stuff like that. But this year feels like we've had a lot more concussions than
Oh yeah.
ever before. Think about Tua. Um,
Oh, poor Tua.
yeah, somebody Russ just got one. I think Tyreek Hill got rocked a couple weeks ago. There was somebody else, Naeem
The
Hines. It was Thursday night football when they were playing the Broncos, Colts versus the Broncos. It's like the third play of the game. Dude, he fell down when he tried to get up.
and was it a Patriots game that happened a couple days ago where Nelson Aguilar had to scoop his teammate up and take a knee so they would take him off the field. His
Yeah,
teammate got concussed.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was that game.
Oh, that was the same game I'm thinking of.
No,
Oh,
no,
okay,
it wasn't the
okay,
same game, but you're right. It was the Patriots game a couple of days ago.
yeah, yeah, man. People are paying more attention to their bodies. I guess I don't know, man.
Yeah. Well, we can only wish for hopefully more injury free year next year, especially to the top guys, because it really sucks. AEW, especially during the summer, no Punk, no Danielson, no Omega. I think Miro was hurt. No, maybe,
No Jeff,
yeah, no
no Jeff.
Jeff. So it's been quite a year, but we'll move on. And I'll let you take the floor on this one. Most embarrassing moment of the year. Who you got?
Oh, okay. So it was a lot of things they could have won this year, but I'm going with the brawl out. As far as embarrassing of the AEW company as a whole, it did a lot of damage to the company, man. Especially because the Wednesday after they stripped all these guys of their titles and they had to replan all the storylines going forward. And the stuff that CM Punk said live on that press scrum, man, it kind of divided a lot of the fan base in AEW. Wouldn't you agree?
I don't know. I'm kind of in between on my answer and your answer now because I see. your point. It did have a bigger effect in a negative light, I think,
Man,
on the company as a whole.
it kind of emasculated Tony Khan live on air when CM Punk just buried one of his top baby faces and buried one of his lead guys in ROH right there in front of him. Like, I mean, people
I wouldn't say
sit.
lead ROH guy.
Well, I mean, who they got on their ROH's roster?
Well, yeah.
They got 6 guys on ROH's roster. So, uh, the point is, man, people are still saying Tony Khan has no balls after everything that happened, eh, dating back to the brawl out stuff, and he still won't even acknowledge what happened. Like, he'll just say, "Oh, I can't talk about it. No comment." He'll just change the subject. It's just a bad look for the company, man. Definitely AEW's biggest black eye was brawl out, and which is ironic because CM Punk gave one of the Bucks a black eye that night too. And I got one honorable mention though, and this is not from AEW or WWE. I got Tyrus winning the NWA championship.
Oh no, I didn't include this.
Harley Race, Ric Flair, AJ Styles, Tyrus.
Oh my god.
Some of the greatest NWA champions are rolling over in their grave. Tyrus is the NWA world, and you know what? That kind of that kind of ruined Nick Aldis's career in NWA too, because after that he wanted out.
Can you blame him?
Not at all.
Oh man, I didn't
Tyrus
even
is,
include that.
bro. He's
But that's
49 years
so
old.
spot on.
He's 49 years old, out of shape. He can't go in the ring. He's insufferable when he's doing that TV show. Is he on CNN or
Fox News.
Fox News? Yeah, man. Oh God, Tyrus, NWA World Champion is my honorable mention. And honestly, it should have won. It should have won this category, but nobody watches NWA enough to care about Tyrus holding the NWA title, which is a shame.
Yeah. And see, I think a lot of people don't realize the effect that the NWA had or has on current television right now. I'm not even talking about the old NWA. A couple years ago, what they had LA Knight, they
Yeah,
had Ricky Starks,
yeah.
Eddie Kingston, like
Hmm.
a ton of these guys came from NWA. And I feel like they just did that because it was different. I feel like they just put it on Tyrus because everybody was expecting them to put it back on Cardona. Well, yeah, now everybody's laughing at you.
I don't even think it's that. I just think Billy loves him some Tyrus, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I forgot to tell you this the other day, and I'll say it on air. So I play TEW, or I've been trying it out. I just downloaded the demo or whatever. If you don't know what that is, it's like just a really advanced simulator game. So you take control of the company, you get to plan the matches, the angles, the finances, whatever. I've heard stuff about it, thought it would be fun to try out. So I was doing an NWA save because they tell you to start with a smaller company. Because if you do AW, you'll or WWE, you'll sync them in like 3 months or whatever if you don't know what you're doing. So I was playing NWA and I took the belt off Tyrus, the TV title. The world title wasn't on him yet because I was playing from like January of this year. And I put the TV title on Aldis. And Tyrus died 2 weeks later. The game didn't even tell me. I was looking at my stables. I didn't see him. I was like, okay. I went to the roster, didn't see him. I was like, what the crap? I know the dude didn't get fired. I mean, I'm not going to be upset, but I'm just wondering what happened. And sure enough, the dude died. So, yeah. He died in the save, and the NWA has died in real life.
Oh yeah.
So, but to wrap this one up, I got the downfall of Vince McMahon is my most embarrassing moment of the year, just because
Oh yeah,
it was kind of embarrassing for all the stuff to come out, and especially with them being a publicly owned company and the legacy that Vince has on the wrestling business. It
yeah,
just wasn't a good look. I do understand the brawl out. It was my honorable mention because, like you said, it had a big effect on the AEW. Even right now, like a lot of the storylines have had to change, and you had to strip everybody of the titles. Punk's situation is still in limbo, split the fan base.
yeah.
So I don't know. I see both sides of that.
I thought you were gonna mention the Saudi Arabia incident that happened a couple weeks ago. Do you remember?
Oh,
Yeah, I thought you were gonna mention that as well. WWE going over there while the actual war is going on in the Middle East.
I didn't even think about that. That could be an honorable mention.
Putting their talent in jeopardy. Well,
Yeah.
just because the payoff. Well, I mean, it's a big payoff, but still, though, man, that shouldn't be looked at favorable.
Well, they get overshadowed by all the crap that's happening with the World Cup right now.
Yeah, yeah, you're right, right.
So, I mean, I'm not a big soccer fan, but it's just
Just
I
business. It's just business,
yeah,
man. They pay a lot of money for those shows. Those shows make more money than WrestleMania does. Like one show will gate them $50 million, and they
good.
don't have to sell any tickets. They don't have to publicize any of this event. They don't have to pay for the building. They are getting just $50 million, and they have a 10-year agreement with this with Saudi Arabia. Each show being worth 50 million. So the deal is worth what is that? $1 billion? $1 billion? Yeah, I mean, I would go over there to Saudi Arabia too for $1 billion.
Yeah, I don't know, it'd be hard to say no, definitely, and I wouldn't want to be in that spot, but I don't wish any ill. I would hate for this to happen. That's not what I mean. But if WWE makes it out of this Saudi Arabia deal and nothing ever happens to any of their talent, I think it will be a miracle.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll move on. Um, Now this one was kind of hard for me to think about, and I don't have an honorable mention, and I may change my answer because I just kind of pulled one randomly. We got worst match of the year, and that's kind of hard to quantify because you remember good matches, but like bad matches you don't really remember unless it's like a bad finish.
You kind of block it out,
Yeah.
or you look at your phone throughout the whole match.
So for mine, I got Marina Shafir versus Thunder Rosa.
Okay, I explain that because I don't remember that happening.
You don't remember? Okay, that was the one that Thunder Rosa reportedly like sandbagged the
Oh, okay,
match.
okay, okay, okay. Yeah, I remember that now.
It was super awkward. They were just like, it was stiff. It was so stiff. They couldn't get each other to move. And it was just horrible. I remember everybody like online, Busted Open was talking about it,
It
it just
looked
didn't click. It looked like there was an issue in the ring
it
and they
looked
were
weird.
not cooperating.
Yeah, it looked weird. And if we had a worst promo of the year category, Marina Shafir would win that as well because of.
You know me.
No, you
You
don't
don't
know
know
me.
me.
Yeah. So you didn't have any honorable mentions for this one?
Nah, I couldn't think of anything. So I guess my honorable mention will be whatever you put down.
I
Maybe.
I had no honorable mention as well. One thing stood out to me when I read this category, worst match of the year. I just remembered that Ric Flair last match.
Oh
And
no.
Ric Flair taking a nap for 20 minutes and everybody thinking he was dead and his offense looking rotten. People were treating him like he was a Fabergé egg. Yeah, oh man, it was a terrible match, Micah. Terrible match. Like that match was awful. The only good thing about that match was Jeff Jarrett healing up to the crowd. That was it.
Yeah,
That
I
match
do.
sucked. You remember Rick? He couldn't even. Man, he wasn't even conscious. They had to walk him through the last spot.
Yeah, because Andrade was like trying to get him up and he couldn't.
Yeah, and then Ric Flair put in the figure four leg lock, and his shoulders were down, and the was counting Jeff Jarrett's shoulders, so it should have been a double pin.
Mm.
Terrible, man. Awful match. Terrible match. Hopefully he stays retired because that looked really bad. Thank God nothing bad happened to Rick throughout that match.
I'll put it as my honorable mention. I won't put it as my top one just because you kind of, I don't know. In my opinion, you kind of know what you're getting. He's like 70.
Bro, he could have died in that ring. He had a pacemaker on. He did.
Oh
He
my God.
he skipped taking his blood thinners that day so he could blade. Man, he could have died.
Imagine if he did. Imagine if he did die. Or imagine if he,
Oh my
like,
god.
if he did take his blood thinners. Like, he
Oh
was like,
my god.
oh.
And who knows if he had a few drinks beforehand? But I don't know, man.
Oh.
I don't know, man. That match was terrible. Rotten match.
There's not few things that I would put my life savings on. But if it was like, what's the over-under of Ric Flair taking drinks before his match? Yeah, I'm going to put everything on that one.
And they were serving hard liquor in that stadium, man. I ain't never been to a stadium that they were serving whiskey out there. Like in the concession stands, man, they just had whiskey and vodka. Usually if you go to a basketball game or an AEW event or WWE event, they'll sell beer or maybe a wine cooler, but no, there was a whole bar that
Yeah.
they had in that stadium.
Yeah, because it was right beside the the
Oh
t-shirt
yeah.
line that we were in.
Oh yeah. Get your new Ric Flair says goodbye T-shirt and have a shot of whiskey.
Get some Jack Daniels to wash it down. Oh, all right. Well, I guess we'll move on. That one's not, I don't know. It's hard to think about that one, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
this one, not so much. And this is our last of the worst category.
Oh.
Worst pay-per-view of the year. What you got?
Man, I fought for this pay-per-view for so long. I really did. The night it happened, I was drinking the Kool-Aid, and I was saying, "Oh, it wasn't that bad of a show. You still got a couple things happen."
As a precursor, I think we argued until like 2 a.m. about this.
Oh yeah, man! I didn't leave your house till about at least 3 o'clock in the morning. I had to call out of work the next day because
I remember that.
I was so gassed, man, of arguing this pay-per-view. But I recently went back and watched this pay-per-view, Royal Rumble 2022. Ah, man. The only good thing on this show, and it had a rotten ending, was the Roman Seth match. They had the cool Seth Rollins entrance where he came out with the Shield stuff on. But the
Yeah.
ending was pretty flat. I think it was a DQ, and then Rollins never got his rematch, which is whatever. But that was the only redeemable part of this show. And the women's Royal Rumble was sloppy and predictable. They had a few surprise entrants, but I mean, as soon as it leaked out that Ronda was coming back, you knew she was going to win. But yeah, that was a terrible match. Bobby and Brock had a very underwhelming match. I expected a lot more. I don't know if Bobby was hurt in that match, but
Plus the ending.
The ending, Roman came out, cost Brock. And then you had the men's Royal Rumble match. You had so many rumors at the time. People were saying, "Oh, you get Matt Cardona maybe making a surprise entrance, or maybe Carlito comes back for a cameo. But you know who we got, Micah?
Who do we
You
get,
know who we?
Ryan?
Oh, yeah, you know who we got because you watched it. Bad Bunny and Shane McMahon. Those were our two surprise entrants. And then Bad Bunny made the top four. He made the final four.
And
Bad
so did
Bunny.
Shane McMahon.
So this. Now let me look, man. I like Bad Bunny as a performer. His music is okay, I guess.
His mucus.
His music. Easy for me to say. It's fine. I can't really understand any of his lyrics, but he got some bops. But him being a Final Four in the Royal Rumble match is, man, it's blasphemous. It's disrespectful to the talent too. And then Shane McMahon being the top four, same problem. I like Shane, but he shouldn't have been anywhere near the top four. And then I think Shane got fired after this event, man. They did not want him back because apparently he booked this match. So he booked himself to be in the top four.
Yeah.
Disastrous. Terrible. And then you got was Brock number 30? I think Brock was number 30. He came out, cleaned house, bing, bang, boom. Brock
You knew he was going to win.
You knew he was going to win when the music hit, but the crowd popped, but then, like, as soon as they popped, they were like, oh, no. You could just see everybody in the arena just deflate.
Sink in their chair.
Like, Jesus, no, not again. And yes.
Again. Again, brother.
Well, I got an honorable mention, though.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
It's not, I mean, we got to call out AEW's terrible Forbidden Door pay-per-view. Oh. Man, that show, first of all, it was hampered by injuries to start with. I think Punk was supposed to be on there, but he got hurt a couple weeks before. Who else got injured that was supposed to be on that show? Danielson. Man, you had so many guys dropping like flies during that time. And then you had the New Japan invasion on AEW television that nobody asked for. They played no vignettes for any of these guys. Yet when they showed up, you had Excalibur singing their praises and talking 90 miles a second, going down all their accomplishments. And like, who is the guy? Who's Aussie Open? What is this? Who is this guy? Okada. Some people don't know who Okada is. But yeah, he just strolls in like he's just got off the airplane, had a t-shirt on, sweatpants, and he came out, and Excalibur made it seem like he was Ric Flair entering the arena. That got some really rotten TV the lead up to it, and then the actual pay-per-view was 6 hours long, 2 hours for the pre-show, 4 hours for the main card, and I couldn't tell you any match that stood out. Well, I guess Moxley had a pretty good match with Tanahashi, but other than that, man, that show was terrible too.
Yeah, you're gonna ruffle some feathers with that one. It wasn't my favorite. I'm not a big New Japan guy, but my biggest issue was the lead up. One, it needs to be further. Like, okay, AEW has Double or Nothing late May. They had Forbidden Door like a month later. You have no pay-per-views from May to September. Put it like in the middle of that. So it was like 3 weeks of build, and they had to rush to get all these guys on TV. And like you said, don't know who they are. And people online will complain. You got a phone. You got a phone. You can look it up. I don't. Because it's going to take me to have to read through their Wikipedia and all this other crap. Give me 30 seconds to tell me why he's the best wrestler in New Japan and tell me all of his accomplishments and who he's beaten. Tell me he's beaten AJ Styles. And I'll be like, oh, okay. Yeah, he probably is pretty good.
Play a little promo package beforehand. It's not that hard. 30-second promo package. Would that have been hard to see?
Yeah, that's one of AEW's biggest downfalls to me is just like they rely too much on the ability of a fan to know everything about the topic. and that works for some people. But for me, I want to know a little bit more. I, for my worst pay per view of the year, I had a 1A, 1B, I guess, because you kind of made me pull Royal Rumble out of the honorable mention. I had Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Let me run down the card for you real quick. And I guess that I would put it above Rumble because it did have one good match on it, whereas Rumble didn't. Like, even the one good match it did have, it, got ruined by DQ finish. Which,
Yeah.
also, I'm not sure if you can hear this, but it's like monsooning outside. I'm not sure if that's coming through on the mic,
Yeah, it sounds a
but
little staticky, but it's not raining here.
oh well. Dude, it is like,
I can hear
yeah. So sorry about that in advance. Let me move my mic a little bit. Liv Morgan won the Money in the Bank title, or Money in the Bank title. What'd you say earlier? Easy for me to say.
it. Yeah.
Won the Money in the Bank match, and it was Bobby Lashley beat Theory for the United States title, which was such a questionable decision because I felt like Theory was having a good run with it. Bianca Belair beat Carmella.
What?
That
That
don't need
happened?
explanation.
That
Yep,
happened?
on pay per view.
Oh yeah, okay. So that was Rhea was supposed to face Bianca, but she got hurt a couple weeks
Yep.
before that. So okay.
Good lord, it just like intensified the rain. Um, the Usos defeated the Street Profits, which was actually a good match.
That was their best match.
So yeah, we had Bianca versus Carmella, uh, the Usos versus the Street Profits, which was actually a pretty solid match, but they ended up having a bunch more. So, Ronda versus Natalia.
I don't remember that happening at all.
Liv then cashed in on Ronda,
I remember that. I was thinking that was a
and
bad move.
then yeah, and then Theory inserted got inserted by who was it? Adam Pearce or Vince?
I think it was Pierce.
Yeah, inserted Theory after he had just lost his United States title, and then he ends up winning the whole thing.
Yep.
And it wasn't a great ladder match, anyways. And it was the last Vince McMahon produced pay per view. So that
Jesus.
and Royal Rumble take the crown for me.
Solid picks.
Yeah.
Those were pretty bad pay-per-views. I wouldn't say Money in the Bank was just kind of forgettable. I mean, because like you said, the Usos and the Street Profits, they had that was their best match actually.
Yeah.
Lashley in theory, their match was pretty solid, I thought. The Money in the Bank match was they were there, but uh, yeah, man, Money in the Bank didn't live up to the hype. And then it didn't matter anyway because Liv literally cashed in her Money in the Bank an hour later, and Theory lost his briefcase. So I mean, what was the point of Money in the Bank?
Yeah. And you add in the fact, too, that before they had the whole thing that they were going to do at an Allegiant Stadium,
Oh,
and
come on.
then they couldn't sell it out.
Well, hold up now. I ain't gonna let you do that. They still sold 20,000 tickets.
12,000.
Man, yeah, but they sold 20,000 tickets for the stadium.
Oh, okay, okay, I
No, I
got you.
mean they moved 20,000 tickets. Let's not just make it seem like they were selling out the Fleet Center in Chicago for the 16th time in a calendar year like your company. I mean, they tried at least.
Well, hey, say what you want. That Forbidden Door show did sell out
Cause
the
of Punk.
United Center.
Yeah, cause of Punk. Come on now.
He wasn't even on the card. He
They
got
were
taken
mad.
off.
Yeah, but the tickets went on sale before they knew he wasn't gonna be there.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true. Anyways, we'll move on from
How
the
mad would
bad pay per view.
no, hold up now. How mad would you have been if you bought a ticket to that show thinking CM Punk was gonna be there And then you get Moxley versus Tanahashi at the main event. How mad would you have been,
Well, here's my thing. I would have never bought a pay-per-view ticket for Forbidden Door anyways. So, I don't know. I see your point, but I just don't. I just don't know the New Japan guys. And say what you want to, but
They're not a draw.
man, I got enough to worry about over here. Much less watching New Japan at 3 a.m. every night.
They're not a draw, man. People are living in a fantasy land if they think these guys are actual competition. At any point, these guys were a competition.
It's no coincidence that that was their least selling pay-per-view of the year.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. Well, we'll move from the bad and the ugly back to our good categories. And I think this is the only group one, not necessarily like individual award, just because it made sense. After the worst pay-per-views, we're going to move to the best pay-per-views of the year. I think I'm going to shock you.
Oh.
My best pay-per-view of the year.
Okay.
WrestleMania Night 1.
Oh, okay. All right. I got that as my honorable mention.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So we agree it was a great pay-per-view.
It was really good. You got the return of Cody. You
Yep.
got the Steve Austin match.
We didn't mention that. We didn't mention that as one of the top stories of
Oh
this year.
God, yeah. As wild as that is to think about, and it might be happening again.
Well, we'll see.
Let me think. You also had on the first night. You didn't have all the foolishness with Johnny Knoxville.
I actually like that. I
Nah.
actually like that.
You had Logan Paul's debut, which was surprisingly pretty good.
He turned a lot of heads.
Yeah, you had Bianca versus Becky, which was probably the match of the night of night 1. I don't know. It'd be hard to put it against Cody and Seth, though.
It made me a bigger fan of Bianca, though. I didn't know she could. I didn't know she had it in her like that.
Yeah, I agree because it's the same way with me. And then, it is the grandest stage of them all. A lot of tickets sold in Dallas. Stone Cold, obviously. I know I already mentioned it, but that deserves 2 or 3 mentions. And for my honorable mention, maybe I'm a little biased. We were there live. I'm gonna say Revolution.
Oh man. Okay.
It was better than Double or Nothing to me. You had Punk and MJF, really good. Moxley and Danielson. I remember the finish being kind of weird, but the match itself was pretty good.
The aftermath was good.
Yeah, the 3-way tag match. Not a big Bucks guy, but it was pretty solid. What's the ladder match they call Face of the Revolution or whatever? I thought it
Yeah.
was a good ladder match. Wardlow won. Wardlow got a big pop.
Keith Lee almost killed Orange Cassidy in that match. Remember he tossed him?
Yeah. Yeah.
And nobody caught him?
Oh God. Yeah, he threw him like way out there too.
Good. Should have threw him further. I'm just saying what we're all thinking, man.
Well, you got to read the room. But yeah, those are my 2. I thought Full Gear was okay. I mean, there was a lot of like solid pay-per-views this year, but those 2 to me, and like I said, I'm probably just biased on Revolution, but
I think that one kind of lost me with the length of the show. The show was long, man. That show was 6 hours. We were in that building
not
for
like Double or Nothing though.
bro. The pre-show was wasn't the pre-show 2 hours as well?
It was just an hour.
All right. Well, I remember we were in that building for 5 hours, and man, after that MJF Punk match, I was gassed. I was ready to go. My head was hurting, and then we got the Adam Cole, Adam Page. Oh God, the crowd was dead. They were trying to amuse themselves by chanting stupid stuff about their names. And then the finish was the trampoline cowboy prevailing. I don't know, man. That I wouldn't put that in my top two, but I'm surprised you didn't say Clash at the Castle, which is my best pay per
Mm,
view of the year. Clash at the Castle, man, had arguably match of the year, had arguably one of Roman's best matches when it comes to him versus Drew McIntyre. Now, did it have a controversial ending? Yes, but it still was a really, really good match. And then we had the Dominic heel turn, which they are doing great on Raw now. Glad they finally turned Dom heel. Man, that pay per view was really, really good, really solid. It didn't overstay its welcome. It was in, it was out, gone. Had a hot crowd. The UK, the first time they ran a stadium show in 30 years in overseas like that. Man, that was a really, really good show.
yeah, that one's on me. That's in my honorable mentions. That one's my fault.
Well, it was good, man. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more than WrestleMania Night One, which I enjoyed as well. It made my honorable mention.
No AEW pay per views.
Hmm?
No AEW pay per views.
Nah,
Ah,
nah. Man, the pay per views
well,
would be a lot better if they took away 2 hours of the content, man. You don't need to put everybody on the card. You don't need everybody on the roster wrestling that night to justify the pay per view being 7 hours. You don't need a 7 hour pay per view. It could have been 3 hours. Any of their pay per views could have been three
everybody
hours
but FTR.
and Miro. But everybody is on on those cards, man. It's just way too long. I can't give that pay per view of the year any of those shows because they're 5 hour pay per views. Who's gonna be the crowds are dead by the time the main event rolls around.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They don't bother me, but I see your point. In my opinion, the pay per view length is okay because the WWE pay per views are $5. Okay, whatever. But the WWE or the AEW pay per
Oh, whoa,
views,
whoa, whoa, whoa,
and
whoa,
like,
whoa. Hold up now. Premium live events, you mean?
oh,
Go
okay, get out of here.
ahead, I'm sorry.
Look, the pay per views are like $50, and I
Crazy.
mean you can't rag on them. That's just how pay per views have been forever. It's not like the freaking UFC where they're like 75, but they're 50 bucks. I'm getting a lot of wrestling. And normally it's pretty good matches. I mean,
but
it kind of just depends on who they put on there.
but Micah, man, all the false finishes, all the moves, all the table spots. By the time the main event rolls around, those guys have literally nothing else to do that's going to pop the crowd because the crowd has seen everything. It's way too much, man. Way too much. I think too much of something is a bad thing. I mean, I like ice cream, but I don't want ice cream all day, every day. I'll get sick of ice cream eventually.
Yeah. Ah, ah. I think they need to learn how to pace a pay per view better. Because, like, I remember when we were at Double or Nothing, it was like Anarchy in the Arena, the triple threat tag match, and then the main event. And it's like, dude, give me a cool down match. Like, good lord.
Yeah.
But I don't know why they put the triple threat tag right before the main event, which is Punk and Page, which was like pretty much what everybody was there to see. I mean, there was some other stuff there, like, the Hardys versus the Bucks, but, and I guess the Anarchy in the Arena because the JSBCC feud had like kind of just really kicked off. But for the most part,
And
I
it's
don't know.
just
It
now
don't
ended.
bother me.
And it's just now ended.
God. Yeah, don't remind me. Well, we'll move on to our next award. Um, well, nah, this is a little different. Okay, I'll let you have the floor first for most improved of the year.
Oh, okay. Um, Man, I don't really have an honorable mention for this one because I can only think of one guy, and that is Dominic Mysterio. Dominic has done a complete.
No.
Yeah, I swear I put Dominic Mysterio as most improved. Man, come on now. The reactions he was getting at the beginning of the year, he was just Ray's son. I mean, nobody cared about Dominic Mysterio. He wasn't getting any reactions coming through the curtain. But now, you tune in to Raw, Dominic is getting booed out of the building. He is getting nuclear heat, man. He's the whole Judgment Day faction is carrying Raw right now. With no Roman on the show, the Judgment Day have been without a doubt the best part of Raw week in and week out, and that is majority to do with Dominic Mysterio and Rhea Ripley, and you got Priest there. He doing his thing. Finn Balor, you know he's he's Finn Balor. Man, Dominic Mysterio has improved a lot over this past year. You can't say that he hasn't.
I had a feeling like when you were hyping him up when you said that about Clash of the Castle, I was like, I just know he's fixing to say Dominic Mysterio. Oh my god!
Hey man,
Look,
his heel turn was the best of the year.
I'm gonna say this.
Nope. Was his heel turn the best of the year, Micah? Come on, man. Yeah. You
Who
would
else is he competing against? I don't remember.
exactly. No, hold up now, because there were so many heel turns on AEW television this year.
Exactly.
Well, his was the best.
I mean, it was pretty good, but also
Yeah.
this is dad. Ah, look.
People love Ray, and he turned his back on Ray, man. Nuclear heat from there on out. He's done well with it.
Let me say this.
Oh God.
I hadn't really been watching the weekly product since we've been
Oh,
on
see, man,
hiatus.
you dogging my pick. You ain't even been watching.
No, no, no. Let me finish. Let me finish. I seen a clip on Twitter. This is Wednesday. I seen this yesterday. And I don't know what he had in his face,
Missed.
but he was screaming and he was saying, Mommy, it hurts. It hurts. Dominic Mysterio will not win any award this year from me.
Oh man, it was a fun backstage segment.
Was it? Was it fun?
I mean,
Would you have enjoyed it if it was on AEW television?
mm,
Eh,
it depends on who it was. Come on, man.
I got a 1A, 1B for most improved. I have Jamie Hayter and the Acclaimed.
Hmm.
And I don't have an honorable mention. Now, for Hayter, I mean, at the beginning of this year, would you have thought that she would have been a world champion by the end of the year?
Well,
Probably not.
well, hold up now. I mean, she was involved with Britt since almost the inception of AEW, man. So you knew she was gonna get there eventually.
Well, yeah, but she's kind of been a lackey. I mean, kinda. I don't know. And to me, she's one of the best female workers in AEW.
Hmm.
Um, you don't agree?
What happened to Serena D? She died.
Well, I said one of. Of course, Serena's the best, but
She's
I,
never
I
there.
mean, I feel like she has came a long way this year, and she's definitely getting better reactions. A lot of people online seem to like her, and I feel like I don't know. I think she's the clear cut like female most improved, rather than mm, probably anybody on like. I definitely can't
But
think of anybody else on AEW, but in WWE, I mean,
but
who?
well, wait a minute though, Micah. So she, she hasn't really improved in the ring. She was good from the start. I mean, and she didn't get better on the microphone. So what did she improve in exactly?
I mean, Dominic hasn't got any better in the ring.
Whoa. Microphone wise, he's getting heat now. He's getting actual reactions.
But is it because of what he's doing, or is it just because of the group?
Well, he did turn on Ray, man. People love Ray. That got him major heat.
I I feel like Jamie's better in the ring now than she was at the beginning of the year.
Okay.
Maybe I'm just noticing it more, but I feel like she's gotten better. And I don't think her promo segment on Dynamite was as bad as you made it out to be. But that's just my opinion.
Buns.
And then the Acclaimed, I mean, the fact that they're more over than FTR right now kind of says something.
Oh
Um,
man. Yeah.
they've had a lot of good matches. Swerve and Lee, FTR. Um, they had that triple threat. Well, that was just Max himself because because Bowens was injured a little bit at the beginning of the year. Um, and they changed. They became versatile. They show that they're not only just a heel team. They're not only just the slight dig guys, and then they just come out and have a meaningless match. They had pretty okay feuds, I guess, but I wouldn't necessarily put that on them. But to me, they've came a long way. They're the best choice for tag champions in AEW right now. And it pains me to say that because FTR is right there, but the smart move is them right now.
Yeah, and I mean, sports entertainment has always been the bigger draw than pro wrestling, man. I'm just telling you, it is. Look at the guy. You tell me the Acclaimed are better in the ring than FTR?
No, 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 no.
Well, then how are they the most over people on the show?
Well, that's just because of their gimmick.
Exactly, man. They're over. They're way more over than FTR because they can just do something that FTR can't do. I mean, it just is what it is. Now Dax, he can. I mean, he can cut a good promo, but can Cash? Can he? I don't think so.
I don't know. I had never really heard him talk that much.
Exactly. There you go. There you have it, man. You say
Well,
what you want about sports entertainment, but it always is better. Man, it
oh,
gets
so
a
you,
better reaction, man.
you a big Jericho Appreciation Society guy, huh?
Well, hold up now. I ain't gonna.
don't go that far.
No,
Uh,
no.
I don't know. That's my two. I didn't have any honorable mentions because that's kind of a hard one to pick
We
for as
ain't.
well.
We didn't bring up the best part of the Claims gimmick right now is the scissor me thing.
Oh, yeah, missed the whole thing.
Yeah.
Um,
People are bringing signs with big scissors on it, man. That every single week. Billy Gunn is Billy Gunn is over because of the Acclaim in 2022.
yeah,
Would you
the
have would
shirt
you have
outsold Punk.
man, would you have predicted that in January 2022?
No. Well, it's like I texted you a couple weeks ago. Billy Gunn has somehow managed to get over with the two, like, probably most vulgar groups, like, slightly vulgar. Like, well, DX was pretty in your face about it, wink, wink, nod, nod. But, I mean, the Acclaimed is kind of like, it's borderline, probably shouldn't be on TV type thing, but it's
Wait,
over.
but no, Micah. To your point though, do you remember Billy had that controversial stuff with Chuck Palumbo in like
Oh,
2002?
oh, yeah.
They had an actual wedding on the show in 2002, man. You know how controversial that was at that
Yeah.
time?
And then didn't he have a pretty controversial group in TNA too with Road Dogg that was like VKM or something, Voodoo Ken Mafia?
That was more like ripping Vince McMahon and WWE. That wasn't. I wouldn't say that was controversial.
Oh, I just thought they were. I don't know. I didn't watch that much TNA like that of that era TNA at least.
They felt
Um,
out of place, man. They felt very out of place.
probably because I don't know TNA in that era from what I've seen wasn't really like just trying to take digs at WWE. They were more just kind of focused on their own thing and having good matches, and then there they were.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's my personal opinion. So yeah, I mean that's my most improved. We'll move on. Um, I, I think we'll agree on these next two. AEW MVP.
Uh, yeah. Well, we probably will. Pains me, but probably will.
Yeah. I don't want to give it to him,
Ain't
but
got no
there's
choice.
one winner, and it's Jon Moxley, and he's not my favorite, and
Mm,
his promos are just okay, and he's had some all right matches, but for the
yeah.
most part, I'm kind of just sick of it. I don't really want to see him on my TV anymore. How can I miss you if you won't go away? He's there every single week, having the same match, doing the same promo, but he's like Batman. When the symbol is shown, he's there, and they've needed him a
Yeah.
lot this year.
Yeah.
I put for my honorable mentions. I put Dax Harwood because he's had some
Oh,
really
okay.
good matches, really good promos. He just loses all of his singles matches,
Yeah, he
and
does.
he's hardly on the TV. And then I also put MJF, who's been really good for them, but just wasn't there the whole summer. So I couldn't give it
Yeah.
to him personally. So John Moxley's my, winner for that one.
I got Moxley too, man, for the reasons you put. I think he needs a heel turn, man. He's been doing the same thing since he got into the company in 2019. I think he's overdue for a turn. And it's amazing. They turned so many people in that show. They couldn't have turned John Moxley by now. The one guy that needs a heel turn.
Yeah, something needs to be freshened up.
I haven't seen this man unleashed since I don't know, because in WWE he was babyface pretty much his whole career too. I think he'd be better. I think he's miscast right now. Very much miscast.
His gimmick is more heel, anyways. The break your
Yes.
bones, eat your face off, beat you
Yeah.
to a bloody pulp. Like that's heel.
Yeah.
And like you said, I think if they just unleashed him, it'd be less like insufferable. So I agree. I think they should
I
turn him heel.
yeah, I'd be behind it. I got as my honorable mention, and it pains me to say this as well. I got CM Punk because when he was there, everything he did made sense. Everything he did on the show was noteworthy, and I mean he's a very controversial figure now online. You bring up his name, but to the live audience, he was always the most over guy on the show, and he was a draw, man. He drew.
I wanted to put him, but he only got like half a year.
But still, when he was there, though,
That's
when
fair.
he
I
was
mean, I'm not going to disagree with you.
when he was there, his stuff was really, really good on the show.
And that's why they need him back. And not the
Well,
Young Bucks. Listen to me,
well,
Tony Khan. This best of 7 is not drawing.
bro, there's another one tonight.
God.
What are they gonna do? They've already done everything.
More flips.
Let's
We
do some
got
more.
more kicks. We got more near falls. And what's the score? 2-1?
Yeah,
I,
2-1.
I bet you the Death Triangle wins tonight, just so they can stretch this out to 7 freaking matches, and then they're
Jesus
gonna
Christ,
do a 3-1 comeback.
Jesus.
Well, it looks like I got to make plans from whatever to like 6:30 because it's not going to be the
Well,
main event. We do have MJF Starks tonight though,
yeah, but the rest of
so
the card looks like buns, man. You got Chris Jericho in action. What does that mean? Who is he facing? I don't know. You got the Death Triangle versus the Bucks and Omega. You know, to that audience, I'm sure they're excited, but to guys like us, man, who cares? Who really cares about that? And then what else you got? I don't even know what else you got on that show.
I couldn't even tell you.
I'm excited for the main event. That's it.
Yeah, my boy
I'll be the.
Starks. You know what?
I'll,
I need to go back to most improved. Ricky Starks. Put
well,
him in
hold
there
on, man.
too.
No, no, no. He did nothing for a majority of the year.
That's all right. He was there.
He was there.
All right. Well, we got our AW MVP out of the way. I'm
Mm.
pretty sure everyone who knows you can guess your next answer.
Oh, come on, man.
WWE MVP. Go ahead.
It's got to be the GOAT himself, Roman Reigns. Holding down the company. He's on a historic title reign, modern day Bruno Sammartino reign. People wondered, everybody always wondered, what would a Bruno Sammartino type reign be like in the modern era? Well, we're getting it right now with Roman Reigns. And you say what you want about him, Micah, his past stuff with the Shield and his post stuff with the Shield, him never changing his theme when he left the Shield and keeping the vest and doing the corny promos. Okay, yeah, that stuff sucked. Yeah, yeah. He main evented 4 or 5 WrestleManias with that gimmick, but his current incarnation is one of the best superstars of the 21st century. And I mean, would WWE had this much success financial wise without Roman Reigns this year? I don't know. I don't know. But I can say that he is the number one guy in the company, and that's not going to change anytime soon. He's been the MVP for the last three years, maybe since he came back in 2020. 2020. He's been the MVP of the company ever since. The tribal chief stuff, man, the bloodline, it's been some of the best stuff on WWE television of the last 10 years. Roman Reigns, easily WWE MVP of 2022. But I got an honorable mention too. We got Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn had one of the most entertaining matches at WrestleMania. He had he probably got the bloodline stuff back on track with his like comedy like comedy stuff with the bloodline at the moment. He gets one of the best reactions on the show. He's there every single week. The Uzi stuff, man. I mean, come on, man. Sami Zayn. If there was no Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn would be my MVP of 2022. Who you got?
All fair. I agree with all of it. I don't know about honorable mention Sammy. I see your point. He's just not a main eventer in my
No,
opinion, but um yeah, I mean I can't disagree with anything you said. This version of Roman is the best. This storyline, one of the best of the past 20 years. Um I will say
dang,
this,
of 20 years.
the
Dang,
bloodline story when you look at it can like take all the other bullcrap out of like having to sit through, the other hour and 30 minutes of it. If you just watched this,
yeah.
it's a really good story. And the payoff, as long as they make it really good, will be worth it.
And you know what? You know what? When they first started it, when Jay Uso and him were feuding, it was really good then. That was probably his best feud was against Jay Uso.
Yeah, that Hell in the Cell match was like the storytelling in it was great. But let me say this too, because a lot of people don't like Roman, and I get it. But I will say two things, and I'm not the biggest fan of like his part-time schedule. There are very few wrestlers that could ever have a reign this long and it not feel stale. And my second point is he doesn't feel stale.
I think Sammy helped with that though, man.
Yeah.
I don't think Sammy getting inserted in the bloodline it kind of reinvigorated it for a little while. It's
No,
still
I
currently.
definitely agree. That was the reason when he beat Drew at Clash of the Castle, I was upset, but I was also like, well, at least we kind of get to see this for a little bit longer.
Yeah, yeah, man. He's on another level right now.
Yeah. And he's the obvious MVP for WWE. My honorable mention was Bianca Belair,
Hmm.
just because I feel like she's had good matches all year. and she's just, to me, I don't know. She feels like a star. She feels like a true like women's champion. Her
And she's reliable. She's gonna be there
Yeah,
every week.
her feud with Becky's been pretty solid. Um, the one with Bailey started out okay. Now,
Mm, yeah,
eh,
that
but
was bad.
for a while it was all right, and she had some pretty good matches this year. So I feel like she at least deserved the honorable mention.
Okay, yeah, that's a good pick.
Next up, I'm pretty sure we're going to agree on this one as well because this is my winner's, race to lose because there's nothing even hardly close to contention with it. Storyline of the year.
Oh yeah,
Come on now.
yeah, yeah,
MJF versus CM Punk.
yeah,
Come on.
yeah. I give you that. That was mine too.
I mean, we don't have to spend forever on this one. I
we'll
mean,
we'll talk about it more when we discuss the match.
yeah.
The
The
dog collar match. We'll talk about it a little more then.
Yeah, but I mean, the setup perfect. The way that it wasn't just promos the whole way. They finally did have one match. That way, it kept it kind of interesting. And MJF ends up beating him by cheating, and he beat him twice, but one of them got called back. So then he still has that nod, that feather in his cap. Oh, I beat you twice, and just the build up. We already said it was one of the promos of the year. Um, I mean, these two guys are AEW's best promos, best. This is AEW's best. I'll go ahead and say that.
Yeah,
And it sucks how things have worked out. And it
yeah.
honestly gives me like a sick feeling in my stomach. But if this is what we got, I can live with it.
If we just forget about what happened on Punk's last night,
Yeah.
it was a perfect feud. But yeah, man, I mean, there's not really much else to say about it. It was a great feud. Those guys had amazing chemistry in the ring and on the mic. I mean, those guys were made to feud with each other. And I'm glad we got it for the
Yeah.
limited time that Punk was in the company, or if he ever comes back. At least we got the best feud he's probably gonna have, unless he can put aside the differences and apologize to the Bucks and Omega. We can get that feud.
But it might rival the MJF one if they did it right. But yeah, I mean, It was MJF and Punk's race to lose. The
Yeah,
honorable mention I got is just the whole Sami Zayn bloodline stuff, just because it's
yeah.
been like really good, watchable TV. It's not even just like this great storyline. It's just it makes SmackDown worth watching, and
Oh
that's
yeah,
all it takes sometimes.
yeah. It's a great program. We covered it last segment, but yeah, the Bloodline stuff is the best stuff on WWE TV.
Top shelf.
Yeah,
All right. Well,
we agree. We're agreeing a lot lately. Yeah. I
yeah.
didn't think we were gonna agree on this many topics.
I think I think it's fixing to turn right here.
Oh Lord.
Um, Rookie of the year.
Oof.
I got three different winners. I'll tell you all why, but I'll let you take the floor first.
Uh. Okay. So honorable mention. I had to look this up because I wasn't sure. But you remember Hook debuted this year?
Yeah,
did you Did you remember that? I had to look at it because I wasn't sure. But yeah, for a rookie, he had a pretty decent rookie year. In ring stuff was fine. He didn't really cut any memorable promos, but you know, there
not his
wasn't a lot of
gimmick though.
No, I mean, but there wasn't a lot of rookies to pick from this year. But the best has to be Logan Paul. Just with the in ring work and his fame outside the company is drawing more viewers in when he was there. So I mean, what who can you put over Logan Paul as rookie of the year?
So was Hook your honorable mention, or were
Yeah,
they
yeah, yeah,
both?
yeah. No, we got
Okay.
honorable mention Hook and then Logan Paul winner.
Surprisingly, we agreed on this one.
Really?
Except I didn't put anybody in the honorable mention. I just put them all winners, and I think they're just Yeah, I'm gonna struggle. Yeah, easy for me to say. Categorized differently.
Okay.
Hook is has been there for most of the year. Young
Well,
talent.
has he?
Well, he's been wrestling
Was he?
more than Logan Paul, so
Okay.
I'll say that aspect he got pretty big over, won a kind of title, uh, had some decent feud or not feuds, but I guess like the whole thing with Action Bronson was somewhat
Yeah,
interesting.
but
Um,
Michael, was Hook actually over or was it the meme of Hook? Because I'm not entirely sure. I don't know.
every event that I went to, he was getting big reactions. So, I mean, there's something to be said for that at least.
Yeah, but it's kind of like the Jungle Boy thing where they were just cheering the song and not the guy. Was Hook really over, man?
I'd like to think. I don't know. But like you said, there's not a ton of rookies either. But I don't know. He's my 1A. 1B, I also had Logan Paul for all the reasons you said. Good matches, good draw. Really shocked me because I don't like, or I haven't liked him as a person for a while. But he seems to be taking it serious. The only reason I didn't give it to him completely is just 'cause he only had like what 3 or 4 matches. I get it. He's a spectacle, but that's got to at least discount him a little
Yeah,
bit. And then one more I put in here because I'm unsure of when he started. Braun Breaker. Now, when did he start in NXT?
2021.
But how far into 2021?
Wait a minute. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Wait a minute. When did they relaunch NXT? As No, yeah, it was 2021. Because I remember they were still at the they were in the pandemic era or just getting out of it. It was like
Yeah.
mid 2021,
Okay, this says his
June or July,
let's
August.
see.
Might be August.
His first match was September 14th. Um he then challenged for the title on October 26th. So I'll put Braun in here too, solely for the reason that he got like 3 months at the end of last year.
This would have been
Um,
his. This would have been his to win if we were doing this last year. But
yeah, that's why I put him in here just in case because some people will get considered for album of the year if they released it like on December. So
yeah,
because he only got like 2 or 3 months at the end of last year, I put him in here as well because he does deserve the nod because he's killing it on NXT. And
yeah.
he's the only thing that I watch from that. So now this next one I think we're gonna have a debate. Match of the year.
Oh my.
I'll maybe I should. I'm gonna start with my honorable mentions.
Okay.
Okay, Hangman Danielson 2.
That
Really
happened this
forgotten
year.
about. Yes, it was at the start of the year.
Okay.
Um, Good match. Feel like it at least deserved the nod, but yes, it does feel like 5 years ago.
I don't remember. I thought that happened in 2021.
Yeah. Well, the first one did. It was at Winter is Coming, but then the second one happened, I think, on like it was the opening like TBS episode or whatever.
Okay.
My next one, sorry, sorry, excuse me, I'm still getting over this dang cough. I got Punk versus MJF at Revolution 2022 in the dog collar match.
All right.
We already that a little bit. We'll watch it in a couple weeks, so we'll touch on that more later. Gunther versus Sheamus at Clash at the Castle.
Hmm. All right. All
Well,
right.
look, we, are you saying it doesn't deserve a nod here?
Whoa, whoa, no,
Or are you
no. I'm not
saying,
saying. I'm saying it should
oh,
be a
okay, okay.
lot higher on your list, there, buddy.
Okay, okay, okay. Um, I said when we watched it, I felt like it at least deserved the nod, but I didn't think it would probably get it. I got Cody versus Seth at Hell in the Cell.
Okay.
I got, for my last honorable mention, FTR versus the Briscoes 2. So for my match of the year,
Oh Lord.
Briscoes versus FTR 3
Come on, man.
in the dog collar.
That just happened. I thought we were cutting off qualifications before December.
Oh, were we? I thought we
Nah,
were.
I'm just messing with
I was about to say.
you. Nah, it was a great match, man. I enjoyed that more than. Well, no, never mind. Because I like the. No, the first one I didn't like. Second one I thought was okay. Third one
The
was
first
great.
one you didn't like? I thought I remembered you liking that one.
Maybe it was the second one I didn't like. I don't know, man. The third one was the
It was
best
the
though. Third one was
it
the
was the
best by
second
far.
one because you didn't like how long it went.
It did go almost an hour, but okay, yeah. The third one is the best though.
Yeah, 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 yeah. The second one I really liked. I like all of them. Who am I kidding? But the dog collar match, man, it. I texted you when I watched it. It is one of the greatest tag matches of all time.
I don't. Can you put it as a tag match though? It just felt like a brawl. I mean, it didn't
I
really
mean,
feel.
it's
It was
still a tag match, though.
yeah. It was a tag match, but it just kind of felt like a just straight up brawl, man. It was the best their best match. The reason I can't put it as number one though, they had no heat. There was no storyline. They were just having a match.
I mean, I guess that's true. Because, I mean, they do have somewhat of a story from the last one, but not on the TV. You just had to see it, like, on Twitter and crap.
Exactly, and they just kind of showed up on. They didn't even show up. No, the gun boys showed up to deliver the message that they were facing the Briscoes in 2 days. Like what?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like why? They are they number one contenders or what happened here? Well, I guess they would be number one contenders. There's only three tag teams in the
I'm
division,
about to
but
say. I mean, I see your point, but to me, it's one of the greatest tag matches that I've ever seen. I put it on my greatest matches of all time, like that I personally have watched. And I don't know, as much as tag team wrestling has kind of felt insignificant over the past long while,
yeah,
they've put on some really good matches this year. Maybe I'm a little biased because I do like FTR a lot and I do like the Briscoes, but I don't know. Rewatchability is a big deal for me when I look at match of the year. I could see myself rewatching all of these. Definitely this one. Definitely the second Briscoes match. Definitely Punk and MJF. And I'd say Gunther versus Sheamus as well.
see that won my match of the year, Gunther and Sheamus. It just had, man, it was hard hitting. They had the massive crowd. Sheamus suddenly became a great wrestler all of a sudden in 2022. Uh, Gunther is probably the best wrestler right now. The crowd was hot. Man, come on. That was the perfect storm. It was the perfect match. It was probably not as good as the Ilya match with Gunther, but it was right there, man.
I see your point. The atmosphere helps it. I just, I don't know. I can't put it over those Briscoes matches.
At least it had a storyline going into it. And you didn't get any storyline with the Briscoes and FTR. They just showed up at the pay per view and let's wrestle. I mean, it's cool. It's a great wrestling match. It's just I like a little more storylines in my wrestling, and that's why the honorable mention I got is the Seth versus Cody match in Hell in a Cell. I mean, what can you say? It was the first 5-star rated match by Meltzer in the WWE since 2011. I mean, it
Oh, I
had
thought it
this.
was longer than that.
Nah, it was Punk and Cena had the last 5-star match before Cody and Seth. And you know what else got a 5-star match this year from WWE?
Gunther, Sheamus.
Luther and Sheamus. Yes, they got 2 in 1 year, but they couldn't get 1 in the last 10 years. But anyway, it's beside the point. That was a great match as well. Cody ended his run on a high note with that match, and he finally hit the pedigree, which we all been waiting for. We're all waiting for him to use it since about 2018, and he finally pulled it off in that match and used a sledgehammer at that.
Yeah, I watched it yesterday. I mean, it was really good too. All of these matches are good. I'm not discrediting that, but it's just, uh, I don't know. I don't know.
I like storylines with the match, you know.
I do too. I prefer that in my like if I'm gonna watch a show or watch anything, I want story. I want to be invested. That's why the Punk MJF stuff was so good. But with FTR and the Briscoes, I don't think they needed a story to still be great. I think the story was kind of let's finally put this to rest and prove who the greatest tag team is.
Okay,
So,
dude,
but I agree, it should have been on TV.
you can't go wrong with any of those picks, really.
Yeah,
Except maybe the Hangman Danielson match. I don't remember that at all.
I don't think it would be match of the year, but I think it at least deserved the nod.
Yeah. You're right. You're right.
All right, well, all right, no, we're fixing to argue on this one. Matter of fact, I think we already did argue on this one. We're coming down to the wire. We got our last 3 biggest awards for the Scoop
Oh
Slammies. I can't
man.
trademark that, but you get the picture. Tag Team of the Year 2022. Who is your Tag Team of the Year, Ryan?
Well, I, man, I thought for a long time, for a few weeks now, who deserves it? There's a lot of great tag teams out there. Acclaimed, Street Profits had a pretty decent year, and the Swerve in Our Glory has some good matches. But my honorable mention is actually one of my honorable mentions because I just mentioned all those other tag teams is FTR. We'll give it to FTR, man. Honorable mention. They had really, really good matches. They weren't there consistently on AEW television, but when they were there, they had one of the best matches on the show. Dax had some great promos that carried some of their feuds. But they didn't really have that many feuds, but FTR held the IWGP titles and the AAA titles and the ROH titles for most of this year. You can't go wrong with FTR. However, this ain't their year. It's the Usos' year. The Usos are the best tag team in the best storyline, holding the 2 biggest tag titles on the planet. The Usos are your tag team of the year. 2022, the year of the Usos.
I gotta
And,
disagree.
and you know what? they could be in the running for greatest tag team of all time. Yeah, I
Mm.
said it. I said it. Yeah, I did. Because you know what? They were the longest reigning tag champions ever in WWE history.
Mm. Mm.
And they are 11-time tag champions. The Usos have been carrying the tag division for the last decade. The
And what they
Usos.
got to show for it?
Oh, they got 2 tag titles to show for it.
What good Usos match you remember?
This year, I could name a bunch of them. They just had a great one with the Brawling Brutes on Friday night.
But it ain't the FTR Briscoes.
Look, they didn't have as good of a match as FTR and Briscoes, but that doesn't matter because they have better storylines than FTR, and they're treated as a bigger part in their company. FTR has never been treated as the top tag team in their own company. So why should I put them as the top tag team in the world?
Ah,
At least the Usos have been on top. The FTR has never, ever been treated as the top tag team in their own company, Mike. How can you put them as tag team of the year?
great matches. Um,
Great feud.
good promos. They got 3 world titles or world tag team titles across 3 different companies. They had the Ring of Honor title all year up until last Saturday.
They weren't running
They've
shows.
had, well, I
they,
know,
go ahead.
they've had the AAA tag titles all year.
Nobody's seen
They've
one match
had
of theirs in AAA, but go ahead.
they've had the New Japan tag titles for 6-7 months now. And in my opinion, I just enjoy their matches better. I think they've dominated the tag team division. I think they have reignited people's interest in tag teams. And the biggest downfall is the fact that the Bucks don't like them. And they cannot get booked in their own company.
Well, the Bucks ain't booking this show there, buddy.
Well, they're staying up till 3 a.m. with the booker, like the gun said. Yeah, I don't know. I see your point. Longest reigning champions in WWE history is quite an achievement. Double champs, big storyline, big draw. The only issue I have with the Usos is, to me, I'm not like super interested in their storyline. It's more the bloodline as a whole. And they're like lackeys for Roman. And I guess the same argument could be made for Dax because he loses all of his singles matches, but I don't know. I guess just the presentation of the Usos, like when Drew McIntyre comes down and he takes both the Usos out with one clothesline, and then Roman like battles Drew for a minute. It's like, man, but they're the world tag team champs. Like, should they be treated like that? Like, at least Dax and Cash are competitive if they have singles matches.
They
I
lose
don't
though.
know.
They lose though.
They do. Eh,
They've they're champs of New Japan and AAA. How many matches of have you seen of theirs in New Japan?
I haven't seen any. I know they've
You
had a
haven't seen
couple.
any. Exactly. So we're just going by what they've done in AEW. And they haven't been treated as the number one tag team in AEW, Micah. They just haven't.
I see your point, but I'm not. I'm not changing my answer.
I gotcha.
We'll agree to disagree on that one because I think we both make valid points, but I can't bring myself to not put FTR as team of the year. They were getting the biggest reactions for months too. It's just Tony's fault because it's a stupid booking decision to not put the world tag team titles on them and have them have all 4 belts. But now here
they
we are that they've
yeah they
lost the
missed
Ring of Honor one.
yeah they missed their opportunity. They lost They lost to the Acclaimed and the Briscoes in 4 days of each other.
Yeah. So I don't know.
And
It's
and you wanted to crown them after they just lost. How dare you? You know who don't
oh,
lose?
get out of here. No, they lose all the time. Just not title matches.
Well, you know.
All right. Anyways, we'll move on. I got Women's Wrestler of the Year up next.
Oh, we'll agree
And
on
I
this, I'm
think
sure.
this is a one horse race. This is Bianca Belair.
Yep.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
She won me over this year because I was not huge on her before, but she looks like a star, great in the ring. The whole EST gimmick is not necessarily my favorite, but
But
she makes it work.
people react to her. There's kids that
That
dress
too.
up like her at events. Like she's
Yeah.
over, man.
And so I'll give it to her. There's no knock on Bianca. She's had a great year, been a great world champion. I mean, I even put her in WWE MVP category earlier because she's just been that good all year. Super consistent. What'd you say earlier? She's always there. You can
Yeah.
always count on her.
Yeah.
For honorable mention, I had Becky Lynch.
we got both the same answers.
I mean, we got to agree on some of these. But this is this is like a clear cut winner and honorable mention. Becky had a great year, just got hurt at SummerSlam and hasn't been seen since, but she did just come back, right?
Yeah, she did. She came back in
So,
War Games.
yeah. So we'll see how that goes, but I mean the AEW women's picture has been really kind of weird this year. The only other honorable mention I had was Britt, and that's
Oh,
she was champion for a good bit of the beginning of the year. She's really the only good female promo in that company, and her storylines are typically the most interesting out of the women's division. She also won the Owen Hart Cup, so I
dang,
think she at least deserves a nod.
dang, that was this year too.
Yeah,
God
her and
damn.
Adam Cole won it.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, I guess, man. One thing we can agree on is WWE's women's talent is far and away better than AEW's women talent.
Absolutely.
It's not even close. And some of those girls they train from scratch. Like they don't find Bianca Belair wrestling in the Indies for 10 years. No, they trained Bianca Belair. They don't find Alexa Bliss wrestling stardom for the last 3 years. No, they trained Alexa Bliss. Like, man, that's Alexa Bliss, probably not a good example. But you
I
get
was
what I'm
about to
saying.
say,
You get what I'm saying, man. A lot
yeah.
of their big stars, they train from scratch. Like, it makes me wonder, like, what could have they done with Jade if they trained her from scratch?
Yeah. I didn't even think about putting her on here, but honestly, her feuds have just been so this year.
Her
She
matches,
don't really
too.
have great matches.
Matches suck.
Um,
She looked good though.
yeah. I mean, that can only get you so far. Ask Mandy Rose.
Oh man. Well, she'll be making
um,
a lot more money. I'm sure of that from the company.
um, yeah. The thing is like WWE's upper echelon women's division, great. There's such a drop off after that though, because then you get to like the Carmellas and the Shotzi's, and it's like, and AW. I don't know. There's like a couple good ones there. It's kind of the same way. They have a couple good, women's wrestlers, and then the drop off is like so substantially just, I guess, different. But I would definitely say WWE. If you put a Becky, Bianca, Charlotte, Sasha Bailey in AEW, they're instantly the best wrestler there.
That's
And that's
another.
saying something.
That's another one they trained from scratch. Charlotte.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, man. Charlotte. They trained her. She came in at the I think it was FCW. Might have been FCW. No, I think she came after FCW. Performance Center. One of the first Performance Center people.
Jeez. And
Yeah,
she's like arguably one of the greatest women's wrestlers of all time.
well, she got the good genetics too.
Well, yeah, it helps. All right. Well, I think it's time
Oh,
for our final award,
what we got?
Men's Wrestler of the Year.
Oh,
I'll let you take the floor first, Ryan. You do the honors.
well, I got an honorable mention here. Honorable mention is Gunther. Gunther, everything he's done has made sense. He's won the IC title this year. He's been a dominant champion. He has a faction around him. He he gets good reactions. You can see him as being a world champion one day, maybe next year. Who knows? Gunther has been consistent this year, and he has been my wrestler. Well, my honorable mention for wrestler of the year, because you know who's going to win this award, and it's Mr. Roman Reigns. Roman Goat wins again. There really shouldn't be a debate. He's the biggest draw in wrestling. Whenever he shows up, the show has a different feeling. He is, without a doubt, the best wrestler of the year, holding the two biggest championships. Roman Reigns is your 2022 Scoop Slammy Wrestler of the Year. I'm standing by that. Final answer, Roman Reigns.
Well,
And I don't care if he shows up once a year, once a month, once a week. He can show up like Santa Claus only during Christmas. When he is there, he's going to make a difference. He's going to move the needle. And he's going to get the biggest reactions. Old Joseph Anoa'i is the wrestler of the year for 2022.
I went back and forth on this one for a while. And it took me, I don't know. I was even asking my wife about it because I don't know. I was explaining why I was leaning towards both of my picks. My 2022 Wrestler of the Year is unanimous. I mean, put your ones up, ladies and gentlemen.
No. No.
My Wrestler of the Year is Roman Reigns.
Oh my God. You told me it was Dean Ambrose. John. You double crossed me, man. You planted the steel chair in my back, man. I mean, I'm happy, but I did not expect this. Go ahead.
Your gasp before it killed me. My honorable mention is John Moxley, and let me break this down. It's two very different categories of wrestler, or like resumes, two very different resumes. On one hand, you got Moxley, who had some solid matches, wrestled all over the planet, different promotions, two different world champions and two different companies. And then you had Roman, holding two belts for the majority of the year, not wrestling a whole lot, not on the show every week. But let me just say this. It was John Moxley's race to lose to me earlier in the year when I said that. He lost it.
What'd he do?
He's done. Well, there you go. What has he done? He's had a mid feud with MJF that was really lost and all over the place. Had a match with MJF. It was just okay. It was no fault of MJF's. He's had the same match over and over again.
Yeah.
A horrible summer, a
Yeah.
decent 2-week Punk feud,
That
and a
was good.
good
Yeah.
match, a really good match at All Out that I liked.
He
After
squashed Punk
that,
too. He squashed him.
yeah, squash Punk, the only person to do that in AEW, the only person to beat him besides MJF. And then he just won the title right back, which was stupid. He's been in a year-long feud with Jericho and his, merry band of misfits. And it's insufferable. I'm so sick of seeing John Moxley on my television screen. And I don't care if you clip this and put it on Twitter. The dude needs to take a vacation. Get him out of here. Now, when you go to Fox on Friday nights and you see Roman Reigns is on the TV, I'm turning the channel to see Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
I'm turning the channel away from John Moxley.
You don't
I'm
want to see
at
him on
this point.
Rampage? You don't want to see him on Rampage?
Oh, John Moxley versus Konosuke Takeshita. Okay, cool.
He was getting booed
I
in that
like
match.
Takeshita.
He was getting booed in that match. People were cheering to Takeshita.
Well, maybe you turn him heel. I don't know. He's just so. It's been the same thing for so long.
He's
I
stale.
don't want to see it anymore. Roman is the draw, and even if he has not wrestled a whole lot this year, every match that he's had has been pretty good. All of his promo segments are great. The Sammy stuff was our honorable mention for storyline of the year. And I'm sorry. I had to swerve you. I had to swerve
You,
everybody.
you know what, Micah? Let me ask you something. Do you think you would still feel the same about Roman if he was there every week?
Mm.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Sometimes the part-time champion thing can work. Like I know you hate on Brock Lesnar's run, but man, you didn't see Hulk Hogan every week during the height of the Rock and Wrestling. I mean, you rarely saw him, and when you did see him, it was a big deal. Same thing with Roman Reigns. If you were to see Roman Reigns every single week, I guarantee he would not be your wrestler of the year.
Maybe, maybe if he wrestled once a month, I think I'd feel a little bit better about it.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
If he just did promos on TV and was just on like most of the pay-per-views, I could live with it. And I would not discredit him because you hit me with a deep question there that I don't think I've realized. I think it does help him, and especially if you're gonna have a long title run like this, some people can pull it off. Punk was there every night, wrestled all the time, did the 434, didn't feel stale to me because he swapped from face to heel too in that. But also, I think it does help Roman
And you
and
and you got to think, man. Raw and SmackDown isn't. I mean, he's champs of both brands, so he would have to be there Monday and Friday.
yeah, I definitely wouldn't want to see him on both.
Like you would get the 2003 Triple H Reign of Terror vibes if
Oh
he was
God, yeah.
there every single week cutting the same promo, man. I don't think it would work as well.
But I also would be he would still be my wrestler of the year even if he didn't have both belts, I think. So that's fine. Don't make him the Raw champion. Keep him on SmackDown. Let him do let him okay, say we got 4 weeks in every month. Let him do a promo on the first week. Let him take the second week off. Let him do a promo on the third week. Let him do the pay-per-view on the fourth week wrestling.
Yeah.
I think that'd be fine and I don't think that'd be stale. And I think that would make me feel better about it. But I also want to say this. if Punk had been healthy all year and had gotten the world title run, I think he would have been my candidate. There's a lot of factors this year that, like MJF, had MJF been here all year and maybe won the world title a little earlier,
He
maybe
don't
he would have
wrestle.
been
He don't
it. Yeah,
wrestle
he don't
either.
wrestle either.
At least he's cutting promos every week, but he don't wrestle, man. He's like Bray
Yeah.
Wyatt. He just cuts promos every week.
So I don't know, but yeah, put your ones up, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't think that I would do it, but I'm for real. I was talking with my wife, and I was like, man, I'm in between. I was like, Roman just feels like a big deal every time he comes out there, and he's had really good matches all year. Like
Yeah,
even the Riddle match, I was like, oh, okay, it's not bad. The Drew match, really good. Second Brock match, really good. Logan match, really good. Um, and she was like, "So it's him versus John Moxley?" She was like, "Don't you hate John Moxley?" I was like, "I don't hate him, but..." And she was like, "Well, then why wouldn't it be Roman?" I was like, "She's spitting. She's spitting." And so I changed my answer.
it's it's crazy though, man. The three Shield guys just celebrated 10 years since they debuted, and they're arguably the three biggest names in wrestling.
Yeah.
Controlling two of the biggest companies in North America.
Yeah, even though Seth what didn't make any of our lists just because his gimmick's kind of rotten right now too.
I'm torn.
Um,
I'm torn week to week, man, because I see him come out get a big reaction, but then when he talks, I remember that I do not like how Seth Rollins talks.
yeah, I don't know. It is crazy though that group, and even if you want to mention this too, how they came in since they came in with Punk, think like probably the four most
Oh, I didn't even think
pivotal,
about that. Yeah,
pivotal, pivotal people this year. Punk and the three members of the Shield.
that's crazy. I didn't even think about. Yeah, they did come in helping Punk.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, but what a year for wrestling. I think it was a pretty solid year. You know, there was some dry periods, and like you said, a lot of the backstage stuff was more interesting than the on-screen stuff. But
Most definitely.
you know, overall, it was a good year. And then you hit me with this morning, so I'll let you open it up. Your three predictions for 2023. What you got?
So I kind of went safe on this one, man. I feel like I'm really sure that the third one is kind of me wishing, but okay, the first one I got Cody Rhodes comes back, wins the Rumble, and beats Roman Reigns for the championship.
Okay.
And I mean, it just feels like he's gonna get the Triple H 2002 run coming up. Um, Number two, man, I got CM Punk gets released. I don't think he's coming back for AEW. He's done. He will get
Interesting.
he will get released in 2023. What he does after that, I don't know. He it's tough, man, because he's gonna have to kiss a lot of butt coming back to WWE if he wants to come back. But he might just he might just be done, man. Maybe we'll see him again at a Hall of Fame induction someday. But 2023, CM Punk will not be with AEW anymore. And the third one, this is me wishful thinking, I'm sure, but I got LA Knight wins the Money in the Bank briefcase. He
Hmm.
is doing some good work on SmackDown. I know you haven't been watching Micah, but just watching this guy, man, he has something. His stuff is starting to get over. His little catchphrase starting to get kind of over with the live crowd. They're responding to it. They're repeating it when he says it. He's having a feud with Bray Wyatt right now, which is probably the top baby face on SmackDown at the moment, if you don't count Sami Zayn or Roman Reigns, which are kind of heels. But Still, man, LA Knight, he's doing some good work right now. And I would not be surprised because Triple H loves him some LA Knight. If LA Knight gets the Money in the Bank briefcase, he would make it work as a heel, and he will be a breakout star in 2023. Is my prediction.
Okay.
Who you got?
I got it's funny, we went too similar. The first one I think is my wishful thinking. I'm saying CM Punk returns to AEW.
Mm.
Uh as we're recording, I had to check Twitter because, you know, a meteor could hit the arena that AEW is performing tonight, and I'd be like, wow, that's like the eighth most interesting thing that's happened this year. Ricky Starks just did an interview saying that
Yeah.
Punk was a great addition to the locker room and that he would personally speak to him and get help on his promos. So I don't know. That one literally could be either way and would not be shocked. So we'll see who turns out to be right. I hope it's me. I know you hope it's you, but the next one, I got The Rock returning, winning
Wow.
the Rumble, and
Whoa.
wrestling Roman at
Wow.
WrestleMania.
Dang, man. That's that's bold right there.
I wouldn't hate it. I
I
wouldn't
mean,
hate it.
Rock is my favorite of all time, but is he gonna be available in March and April? Isn't the XFL starting back up?
I mean, yeah, but it's just in LA.
Oh, it's just in LA. I mean, hey man, I hope so, but you don't think that would like mess up the Cody Rhodes thing we got going on?
Maybe. I mean, I've heard online that there's discussions that they're going to do Roman wrestling Cody the first night and Rock wrestling Roman the second night, but I don't like that idea. It
Nah, I don't
doesn't,
like that either.
I
Yeah,
don't think it'll turn out well.
nah, it's too much, way too much. That deserve if either one of those storylines happens, it needs to be happening with nothing else around it. You
Yeah, I agree. There shouldn't be two. And my third, I'm trying to think. Let me spitball something real quick because I
you
didn't
got
have one wrote down.
you think Vince returns? Well, we have to do an emergency.
No.
Well, we have to do an emergency podcast if he does return.
Um, Let me think. What's a bold claim? What's a
Thanks.
bold claim?
Think Sasha's gonna debut in AEW?
That one's too easy. Um, I'm
Nope.
gonna say Bray Wyatt is gonna be the one to dethrone Cody Rhodes.
Wow, I can see that. I don't hate it.
I don't. I mean,
Well, who's gonna dethrone The Rock? Who's
oh
gonna?
god, yeah.
Maybe he just like maybe he vacates the title and they have a tournament for the championship.
I don't know. You could get the rub over on someone though. Never mind. Bold claim. Austin Theory dethrones The Rock
Wow. Dang. After he beats John Cena.
in the same night, like Chris Jericho.
Hey man, if he did that, strap a rocket to him.
Hey man, well, I'd say I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't love it either, but there's
I,
worse options.
I'm sure people were talking trash when Jericho beat Stone Cold and Rock the
Oh,
same night.
oh yeah. I can only imagine. Imagine the IWC back then.
Oh man, meltdown.
But yeah, I don't know. We could, like I said, we've talked about hoping for a good year next year. Hopefully the injuries are less. I think that's the main thing, we can wish for. But overall a pretty solid year and we hope to be back consistently next year. We're going to probably have a weird schedule, not going to lie, cuz I will probably be on night shift next year, but we'll figure it out. You got any closing thoughts?
Nah, man, just 2022. It was it was good for backstage stuff, but everything else is hmm,
It was
2023,
there.
hopefully. Yeah, it was there. 2023, hopefully, is going to be a lot better as far as the storyline aspects of professional wrestling because this year, man, wasn't a lot of great storylines as far as other than the bloodline and the Punk MJF stuff.
Yeah, I agree, and that's definitely something AEW should work on. Is getting some more storylines invested. And TK said that he's looking to not focus so much on Ring of Honor
Thank
as
God.
on the AEW TV screen. So yeah, thank God.
And you know what?
Um,
I'm really curious as to how Triple H is going to book the road to WrestleMania. Like, if we've never had a road to WrestleMania without Vince.
yeah, we never had a WrestleMania without Vince.
Well, there you have it.
Triple H's first full year will probably be next year.
Are they going to split the
So
rosters up? Or are they going to split the titles back? Or are they going to split the tag titles back? Who knows?
that's a good, yeah. There's a lot of uncertainty in WWE for the future just because it's a different regime. That's what we're only like 6 months removed from that. No, not even 4. He took over in August.
Yeah,
So
we'll give them some time.
yeah,
Raw's been rotten though last month.
yeah, you ain't kidding. Let them get to the draft first if that's what they're gonna do. But these have been the Scoop Slam Awards. We hope you guys enjoyed it. And we had a lot of fun doing it. We had a lot of fun this year doing this stuff, even with our hiatus. I know me and you have enjoyed it a lot. Um, I don't know. There are times during editing and stuff that it's like, but it's fun to just sit down and talk about wrestling. I don't care if we got 5 people listening or 50,000. We have a good time, and we hope you guys enjoyed this. Make sure to check us out on Twitter at Scoop Slam Pod and Instagram at Scoop Slam Pod. And like I said, we got a couple episodes coming out of watch alongs just to get us through the Christmas break. But this will be, our first episode back. And then after all the Christmas stuff, we'll hopefully be back second week of January. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day today. Thanks for listening. Enjoy.